This really is the only binding you'll ever need. Stay tuned for part 2 of our binding series. I'm going to answer some questions first or address some comments that I got. First off, I got some comments about this, and I actually have a tutorial. I'll have a QR code somewhere on the screen here so that you can click on it. And just for a refresher, all you want to do for the QR code, if you're watching on your phone, you just touch it and it'll say like open in browser or something like that. And if you're watching on your TV or iPad, well, iPad would be the same as the phone, but on the TV, you're just going to open your phone to the camera, point it at the little square QR code, and then it'll automatically, you don't have to like try to take the picture or anything, you just point it at it and automatically it'll give you a link. So I'll link this there, but I made this. It's a take on millinery flowers, and look at how precious this is. It's super easy to make, very beautiful, and they're really wonderful toppers for a journal. I mean, look at how that finishes this off. And that video I talk about, this was a Dollar Tree bag, and I wanted to, it wasn't my aesthetic. Maybe it's because it's springtime, or it was about to be springtime, that I wanted something more pink, more vibrant, and so I made that. And I think it's just precious. The other thing I wanted to address was, if you recall on part 1 of this video, I used some washi to show you how you can reinforce the cover, and I wanted to show you this washi that I made, and I have a tutorial for this using some medical tape from Dollar Tree. Here's also another piece. I've used it all because I absolutely love it. This is one of those projects that I say that if you only do one project from my page, this would be definitely at the top of it. So before we get started in this, I wanted to welcome you. I'm Ingrid Carlson, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. We are going to continue making our journal and the only binding methods that you need. And today we're going to talk about the actual binding. So we're going to do a pamphlet stitch. I'm going to show you how to do a 3-hole and a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. So if you were waiting for that, then this is the video for you. Also, if you're not already subscribed, I'd love for you to consider subscribing, as well as sharing this with anyone that you think that might get some benefit out of it. And of course, liking and leaving a comment. It really does help me out so much, and I appreciate you all for that. Okay, so let's get started on the project. I'm really excited. You can probably hear it in my voice. And I used to be so scared of binding. I was so scared. I cannot stress this enough. It kept me from making journals for so long because I thought there's no way that I'm going to be able to do this. And I want to show you it's easy. Anyone can do it, I promise. So I just grabbed some different papers. These are from Patreon. I just printed double-sided. I have some dictionary page, some old like an old torn up book, and some tea dyed paper, this Dutch, I think it's like a dictionary, I don't remember what it is, but actually I think it's a manual of some sort, and I got this in an estate sale. And then I also have my bag of scraps. And I think there's plenty in here where we can use these for the inside pages, especially since we're working on such a small journal. So I'm going to go ahead and show you 3 different signatures, and I will probably do 2 with the 3, maybe I'll do 2 with the 5 and 1 with the 3-hole. We'll start with the 3-hole because that's the easier one. The 5 is exactly the same way, except it's just like one extra step. So super easy, I promise. The other thing you're going to need is thread and a pokey tool. So here is my little box. So this little sucker, some people call this a pokey tool. This is called an awl. Not an owl, an awl. think. Maybe it's an owl. Now I forgot. Okay, if you know, let me know down below. I'm going to use embroidery floss. This is the like DNC brand that you can get at, you know, all over the place. And then optional, you can get one of these little things, and this is wax inside of here. And you can see that it's been loved. And what you do is you just pull your thread through it, and it coats the thread with wax, making it more sturdy, and also it slips through the papers easier. I'll show you how to use it. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to start off, usually when I am doing binding, I'm going to start off with my main page, or my, like the largest page. In the last video that I did, not part 1 of this, but the one right before that, I showed how I do kind of waterfall pages so that they're not all the same width and length, and I love doing that. So I think I'm going to cut this, and I like those little bits like that stick out. I think that that's really unique and sweet. I think this is, so what I'm doing is I'm taking the page that I folded, you know, my test, or my, what do you call that? The, like the original or the sample. So I'm putting it here of how it would look once the journal was closed. And I think that this is a really good size. You could go a little bit larger than that. But I'm going to go ahead and use this as my base. So I know that I can go a little bit taller. I can even come out a little bit wider, but this kind of gives me the base of what I'm working with. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to just fold this down. Because this page is already attached, I'm going to use that to my advantage. And I have a stapler in here, so we're going to try to cut this around this. No, that did not break in the right spot. Perfect. And hopefully that staple doesn't bother us with the binding, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So what I usually like to do is I like to take off, so any spot here that is blank, I like to take that off. And I keep these little bits because they're really great for layering later on with your clusters. So I'm just going to put those to the side. And I'm going to take this off. And I think that this is going to be fine. I'm not a stickler. I don't mind if it is a little bigger. And this is really great. I love this size of journal because you can really use your remnants, your little pieces. I'm going to use everything I have. I try not to throw much away. And I think we're going to keep it easy, and we're going to do just 3 pages. So this is a signature, and I'm going to do 3 of these. So I'm just going to put this one to the side. And I'm eyeballing here. I want this to be no fuss. We're close. That's almost spot on. Wow. Okay. So leave that. Oh, I have this. I think this would be great, except for I don't know that I would bind this in because it's really old music paper and it tears super easy. You can see that like tore just right off. So I don't think that that is good. I could do a partial doily. I think that is very cute. That can definitely stay. Let's do a piece of dictionary page. And on this one, if you're noticing, I am trying to keep things so that they are different shapes. It adds a lot of interest. And I'm trying not to keep it all uniform. So there's our 3 here. Now, sometimes with the doily, I might not add that. So I might add an extra page, but I think we're going to leave it. I was talking about this in another video about making journals that have less pages. And if you are brand new to journaling, I highly suggest you try it out because it's easier to get through it's 3, but it's actually 12 pages. So take this one. So realistically, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 sides that you can decorate. So that's already a lot. So I think 3 is more than enough. And you don't have to decorate all of them. You can leave some of them blank, like that doily. I just had something that I thought would be good to use, but I can't remember what I did with it. Okay, let's see. Oh, I know. I have this Dollar Tree paper, which is super cute. Let's use this pink. And it's a teeny tiny piece, but I think it's perfect. Okay. The other thing you are going to need are binder clips or paper clips, something like that. I'm going to go ahead and use a paper clip so I can show you, because you probably have some paper clips on hand. So I'm going to line this up, and the first one, since we're doing a 3-hole punch on the first one, I'm going to take this and I'm holding this down with my hand and I'm finding the center, which I believe is this one. And then while I'm still holding that, I'm going to slip my finger inside and now hold that part tightly. I'm going to add these big paper clips, are really nice, but you can use a small one as well. And I just want this so that it doesn't move around on me. Okay. When you're adding multiple signatures, it can get a little tricky. And so you want to try to hold down your pages as much as you can. But I'm going to show you that you don't have to be perfect by any means. That's kind of what this whole channel is about. You probably found me because you are doing junk journaling stuff, and I like to say that I'm the junk journaler who throws perfection out the window. Yes, there's a place if you want to measure and you need to measure because your heart needs to measure, then measure. But I want to show you a way to do it without it. I want you to find the joy in making something with your hands instead of focusing on the perfectionist method of doing it, or that it has to look a certain way. I want you to throw something like this together, especially if you're brand new. Just throw it together. It's going to be beautiful, I promise you. Okay. Okay, I'm just picking out some thread. I want something that I have plenty of. This is one of my favorite colors. It's like chartreuse. Ooh, this one's very pretty. Let's use that. Oops, I need a needle. I like to get these big needles. I don't know what they're called. I'm not an expert in this at all, but I like something that has a big eye hole so that I don't have to worry about trying to thread it through here. And then because we don't need this part to poke through the pages, since we're going to do it with this, then, sorry, this can be blunt. This one's not, it's a little pointy, but it's definitely not as pointy as, let's say, some of these. And you can see these are very pointy. So now let's put that to the side. And I always do this, I mess it up. Okay. When we are doing a signature, the rule is to do 3 times the height of your journal. So that would be 1, 2, and 3. And since I know that I want 3 of these, I can go ahead and cut them out. For the, actually, we're going to actually try out the first one with the 3-hole punch and see how much leftover we have, because the 5-hole is going to take a little bit more. So if we have plenty of leftover of the thread with the 3-hole punch, then we're good. Oh, and I wanted to show you this before we thread it. So I don't know that this is the right way. This is just the way that I thought worked well. So I just wrap this around. I leave a tail, and then I'm going to take this and just pull it through. And you can kind of see right here that it is covering it. And you can take your time and do more. I don't think we really need that, but I wanted to show it to you as an option. Okay, let's see if I can get this on the first try. Nope. Second try, perhaps. Those little suckers do not want to go through. Okay. Yay. Okay, let's start with this. So for the 3-hole punch, you're going to decide where your tails are going to end up. Do you want them so it's going to dangle through the middle, or the inside, I should say, or do you want it on the outside? On the outside is a lot of fun because then you can put beads on it. You can also do that from the inside, but they'll just like poke through the bottom like this. So whichever you want. Now, this is the part where I say, like, you do not need to measure or anything. What I like to do is I like to find the somewhat midpoint. It's right here. And I'm actually going to go ahead, because my papers are thin enough, I'm going to go through and just do it with the needle. If you're using this, you can go ahead and poke your holes and then do your needle. And some people find that a lot easier, especially if you have mobility issues, that this could be more helpful because it's easier to poke the holes through. And I started to say, so depending on where you want the thread to come through is how you're going to go in. So I'm going to have my tails on the inside. So I'm starting from the inside. If you want them on the outside, you start from the outside. So I'm going to go from the inside out to the front, and then I'm going to decide about halfway point from here to here, and this looks like a good place to put it. And let's see, I was on the one line. Let's try that again. It's better if you fold it like a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to pull it through. Then I'm going to go to the bottom and kind of, I'm looking here that there's about that much space, and I'm just going to poke that through. And then we are going to go through the middle again. Now, when you do this, you want to try not, the rule is try not to pierce the thread, but I do that sometimes and it's okay. Especially if you're making a little book like this. If you're selling it, then you want to be more careful with that. But everything's fixable with some tape. So now I'm going to have where one is on this side and the other is on this side to tie my knot. And I'm going to go, so I went over, now I'm going to go the opposite, and that can be it. Now I can snip this off wherever I want. So if I wanted it to dangle through, I could. You can tie a bow here as well. And you could cut it so it doesn't have anything, or you can leave it and you can take a piece of the washi and cover it. So there's tons of options with this. I'm going to go ahead and leave it like this because I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Also, another thing that I didn't say is when you're doing multiple signatures, I like to start with one side and then work my way up. I just find that it's easier, but you could do the middle, then do the side and do the other side. However, it works for you. So now I'm going to take the second signature. I want my pages to somewhat be in the center because then I can guarantee that at least one of the holes will be here. You don't have to have everything in the holes. So for example, on this one, it did catch both of the holes, but let's say it didn't. It only caught two and there's a hole down here. It's okay. It'll still be secure enough. So now I'm going to line this up right here. And if you want to be perfectionist, don't. No, I'm just kidding. Do what brings you joy. I'm going to line it up. I'm going to hold it down just like I did the last one. I know that this book is my center. I'm going to still put pressure here because I don't want this to move around. And maybe I'm going to put that down. Try to tape this, and I'm actually going to, because as you keep doing them, they get a little bit harder. You can also get these binder clips. I like using these because they're strong and this isn't going anywhere. So again, this time I think I'm going to do 4 times for the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do that for both. So I'm just going to use this as my guide. And we're going to pull. Some of you are like, do not pull it like that. You're going to make a mess. But I learned the hard way every single time with these. Are they called skins? Skeins? I don't know. Okay, so let's see how many takes it nice and flat. Okay, hold your breath. They do not want to stick. Okay, I'm going to stick it in my mouth, sorry. This is just my journal. Yay, second try. Why does that work? Well, it works because you're wetting down the thread. So if you don't want to stick it in your mouth, have a little bit of water next to you and do the same thing. Put the water on your fingers and just pinch the ends and kind of flatten them out like this, and that way it'll go through a lot smoother. So we are just going to repeat the process, except we're going to add a step. So let me see. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to look up on my iPad. I have a diagram to show you what we're doing. I have a full video on, and I think I have a short as well on how to do this. But we're going to do it again. Maybe, if I can find it. Here we go. Okay, so this is your 5-hole pamphlet stitch. Actually, I want to use something. Oh, here we go. Okay, so we're going to do the same way. That way we're staying true to the first one that we did. We're going to start from the inside. We're going to go through the middle hole. Then we're going to, from the outside, come back through this. So we have 5 holes. We're going to come through that hole. From the middle again, we're going to go back through that top hole and then come around, go through the second hole. Then you're going to skip the 3rd hole. You're going to go in through the 5th hole, then around to the 6th hole, then back up through the 5th hole, through the outside, come back around through the 3rd hole, which is where we started, and then we tie our knot. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to put this on the screen for a minute so you can screenshot it if you need it. And I'm going to leave it open on my desk so that I don't get confused. And we are going to, so I'm going to do the same thing. I am not going to measure. I'm going to find my midpoint. It's about here. Okay, pretty good. Happy with that. I'm going to hold my tail, which I don't think I said this last time, but you want to hold your tail so you don't pull it through on accident. And remember, we're going to have 5 holes. So the first one is going to go through, you're going to have 2 more holes in here, right? So I could have one here and then another one here. So the first one, I'm just going to kind of poke a hole there. That's what I like to do so that I see where it's at. And then I'm going to come in. And then remember, we have another hole up top. So I'm going to just place it here. And again, if you want your holes pre-holed, punched, then go ahead and do that first. So now we're going to take this one and we're going to go back in through here. Now we're going to skip that middle one and we're going to put a hole like right here. Did I do that right? Yes. Then we have one more hole at the bottom. We're we're going to go back up this one. And you can see this is kind of loose, so I will go in and tighten it. I don't want loose, and I'll show you what I usually do. So I'm not piercing it, so we're going to go in through that. Now when I'm here, this is where I start to tighten it. I'm going to pull away from it. I'm going to turn it around, make sure that I am tight. It's tight enough, I think. I have it on both sides, and now I'm going to tie my threads. And now I know that I have extra thread, so I actually have this left over. So I'll put this aside because I can use this in something else. Now, the next one I'm going to show you is going to be the 5-hole punch again, but this time, let me move this out of the way. This time I'm going to pre-punch the holes with you so that you can see how it's done like that. But look, we already have 2. We're almost done. We're almost done. I told you this is super simple. Okay, let's take this. Now this one is one, like I said, that obviously this is not going to fit. All 5 holes are not going to go through this doily. And so you have to decide, do you want your doily down at the bottom? Do you want it in the center? Do you want it at the top? I like the way that it looks down at, or closer to the bottom. And I think because of that, then I want this piece to come down just a tad as well. Line this up down here. And we're going to line it up with our, I'm actually going to just take it upside down. It'll be easier if I turn it. And I'm going to place it somewhat centered. Again, I'm holding it tightly. I'm finding my center, which in this case, oh, look what I did. I don't have my papers correct. Let's try that again. Now this goes like this, so I'm going to put it here, hold it down, find my center, you know, I'm trying to stay on screen for you guys, but normally I'd pick this up and get it closer to me so I could make sure. So holding that bottom piece down, then I can add those wherever I need. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to try to get this on the, hopefully you guys can see. And I think, did my lights just dim? Okay. Cover your phones, mute them, pause it for a second. I'm going to talk to Alexa, so if you have one in your house, it might go off, so I apologize. Alexa, turn craft room lights to 100%.
Sorry, I didn't use your device in your craft
Okay.
lights.
Turn craft room lights to 100%.
A few things share the craft room lights. Which one did you want?
Hold on. Cancel. Okay, I'm in the dark, guys. Okay, let's find the craft room. They're 100%. And nope. Let's go right here. Okay, hopefully that's a little brighter. Sorry about that. Okay, all right, so we're gonna find our center. Again, if you want to measure, you can, but you don't have to. So I find my center to be somewhere here. Okay, I'm going to go up and find the center here. Let's go, well, I need 2 holes here. So I need to decide where I want, I'm going to do one here and one like right here. I'm going to do another one here. And this is making really big holes, but it'll be fine. If you do that, and so now I'm just going to follow that formula, and kind of that looks like it's like maybe ½ an inch apart. And so I'm going to do the same thing here and then do another one here. Okay, so now we have our 5 holes, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to start at 3 and we're going to come from the inside, work our way out. I feel like I was going to tell you something and now I forgot. Okay. So now I know that I want my tails to be, I can do them a little longer. So then I can leave this out a little longer. So remember, we're going to go in through the middle, but that's not this many, hole number 3. Let me grab let's grab this. Let's move this stuff to the side. I don't know if that'll be in screen or not, but I'll try to keep it there. So we're going to go in through hole number 3. And then we're going to go through the middle. The back side, we're going to go up hole number 2. Okay. We're going to go through the inside, up through hole number 3. Then we're going to go back through hole number 2. Then, so we're right here. Now we're going to skip all the way. So we're going to skip hole number 3 and we're going to go through hole number 4. Then from the back side, hang on one sec. From the back side, we're going to go down hole number 5. We're going to go back through, hang on, my tail is getting caught. We're going to go back through hole number 4. Hang on, let me make this a little tighter. Okay. Then we're going to go back through from the back side, hole number 3. And try not to, so did you see that it actually pierced the thread? So I just pull it back out a little bit and come out, go underneath here so that I have one on each side. So see, this one's to the left and this one's to the right. I'm going to go ahead and just take that off. Oops, before I do that, I want to make sure it's tight everywhere. And if you want to leave those tails long like that so that you can put beads on it, you can. And look at that. We just bound 3 signatures. So our first signature is here. Look how adorable that is. Oops. So that's our first signature. And really, if you wanted to put a signature here, you could. On each of the folds, you could put a signature. Then this is our second signature. So sweet. And then our third. And this will get you through to make your first journal. It doesn't have to be, now you could get decorative with this. You could put, I have seen people put beads here in between each one. You know, once you do a couple of these, then you can start experimenting and just start being more decorative with it. You can add different threads, like you could have done like dark pink on the sides and light pink. You could do where you have 5-hole stitch, 3-hole stitch, 5-hole stitch, and you know, you can make it your own. This is still really like moldable and foldable and still yummy. And if you get to the point where, let's say your pages are coming out, because you know, like something like this is very old paper, you can take some washi tape, handmade, or you can buy some, and you can put it down the center to reinforce and hold these together. You could also do it with regular tape, masking. I love using masking tape. I'm going to show you really quick, because masking tape is one of my favorite supplies, and I always have it on hand. Last time I had a tough time pulling this off of, there we go. You can see it's all stuck here, but I'm actually going to cut here and pull that over so that I don't have a hard time next time. Future me will thank me. And then I love how it had that like extra piece. And if you want to use some glue underneath here, you can as well. Here. You know what I didn't do is when I put these in, I never flatten them out with my bone folder. I was wondering why these weren't staying flat, so it's kind of a little late to do it, but look at how pretty that looks with the masking tape. I love using masking tape. I think that it is so pretty. And if you were doing this with me, you can pat yourself on the back, because now you have learned how to do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch and the 5-hole pamphlet stitch. So I want to know if you have done this stitching before. And if you have not, I'd love to know. And I'd love to know if you're going to try it with your next journal. I think this is probably, for me, the easiest type of binding method that I have found. And really, you can get through with just this. You can look at some that are like the Copic stitch, and I'm trying to think of some other names. I can't think of any off the top of my head except for those two. But you can get as intricate as you want, but you do not need to. And I think this looks precious. I think that this is beautiful just like this, and it doesn't need anything else. And now I have a little journal, and look how sweet it is. I love this binding too, the the score lines that we made on part 1. And if you missed part 1, I will have it linked down in the description below, and I'll try to put a QR code here. So I'm going to have 3 QR codes for you. They'll all be different. But I love how it opens like this, and it looks all cascadey. Isn't that so sweet? I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it blessed you today, and I hope that mostly that it inspired you to go create something beautiful with your hands. Making something pretty doesn't need to take a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of resources. We used a lot of scraps in here, with the exception of, some printables. But, some of this stuff was just sitting in my scrap bin, and so the smaller you make the journal, the more scraps that you can use. And it's just a really fun, easy project. I hope that you do try it out. And I want to thank you guys so much for all of your love and support, and for sharing the video with friends and leaving comments and all that stuff. It really means the world to me. And if you haven't subscribed, I hope this video has turned your your view on that around, and that you hit that subscribe button, and make sure that you hit the bell That way you get notified, and turn on the notification so you get notified anytime a new video of mine comes out. I thank you so much for being here. And before we leave, I wanted to remind you today that you are strong. You matter. Your words are important. You are seen and you are heard. Mostly, you are loved unconditionally. Unconditionally. Until next time, love you. Bye.